Let me ask you this. Do you feel like the way, because I feel like the Pat McAfee thing happening and then all of these cuts happening and Stephen A starting his own show, I feel like none of these are coincidental.
Oh, no, it's not.
Right? I'm like, okay, well, they had to pay this guy however much they had to pay him for him to walk away from that FanDuel deal, which shout out to him for being comfortable enough to do that. But then at the same time, you got, oh, look, Stephen A launches his own thing on YouTube. Like, do you feel like Pat McAfee, in the same way that Skip and Stephen A kind of changed what moves the needle in traditional TV ratings on sports networks with debate? By the way, PTI were the first to kind of do that. But do you feel like Pat McAfee's changing the sports broadcasting industry?
Yeah, he's the one that shows the proof of concept the best in sports. You combine that with the Paul brothers, you combine that with Joe Rogan. Then it starts getting crazy.
Right, but in sports it's like...
It's McAfee. And the beautiful thing is, I keep going back to it, he ain't even raised his hand to do it. But you know what he was doing? He didn't know it. He was falling in alignment where the industry had to go. So let's go way back to like 98, 99, when Bill Gates first said content is king. And everyone's heard that.
Right.
But we didn't really understand it because we didn't have the proper mediums and the proper conduits to do that. So content is king before social media is really big meant what? I stay in the studio longer, my show is longer. What's content is king? But what he really meant then, and I was just at a summit speaking in Silicon Valley about this, where all the tech gurus, CEOs are talking, VCs now, that this world, especially sports media, is going to change and morph into everyone is a creator and everyone is a channel. Now, some people are already pushing back, probably thinking, I ain't a channel, I'm not a creator.
Everybody is, though.
If you got an Instagram, oh no, let's go old school, Facebook, you like OG.
You're a content creator, technically.
Yes, if someone is following you,
they're giving you attention. If you post something, someone's giving that some sort of attention. You might get 2 likes.
There you go.
That is content.
You may get 2 likes, but if you talk about interaction, engagement, did someone slow down on it?
Right.
There.
Yeah.
Because that's what they look on the back end.
For sure.
They're trying to measure those metrics. And they're like, oh, that was interesting. Okay, now we're going to change your feed, your algorithm for that. Point being, you are a creator. On a grander scale, that is Pat McAfee. He just started to plug away, doing a 3-hour show every single day and falling into alignment where everything had to go. So now everything is going that way.
And very unedited, very unhinged when it came to the language he's using. And it was like, oh, this guy doesn't work for nobody. So he could say whatever the fuck he wants.
And it was sick. And I mean, I'm watching.
And he played,
I'm watching one of my contemporaries doing the same thing, broadcasting.
Right.
Play ball like I did. And then I'm watching him in a tank top curse about the same topic that I'm over here, in a suit, looking all prim and proper.
Right. It's like, who's the fans going to want to see? They want to see the uncut version of that? Or
Right. Yeah. I wanted to see that. So I'm like, getting off the studio desk. Everyone is bowing down to me. Oh, look, Marcellus is on network TV, linear cable, respect, which it is.
Well, of course.
It's a different animal.
If it wasn't, Pat McAfee wouldn't be on ESPN if it didn't matter. Because it does still matter. Because he took a lot of people think he walked away from, maybe a little bit more money.
No, they got that wrong too.
Did they?
Oh, let me tell you. All right, so let's just say the FanDuel deal is 120. If it's 120, that's what they reported, and then he gets 85 from ESPN. Everybody already initially kind of ran with it the wrong way. 120 from FanDuel is, here, Pat, do everything else with it. Pay
your staff. Pay the whole crew.
Whoever
Pac-Man Jones, everybody.
All of them.
Yeah.
And run that operation, and you deal with all that, and the tax attorneys and the audit. Or I give you $85 million.
And then we pay your crew.
And then I go, AJ, come here. You come in here next. Nobody talking about his deal. AJ, here's your 5-year, 25, whatever it may be. So everybody starts getting that. It grows greater than the 120 he got from FanDuel. Right. And everybody's secure. Everyone gets their health insurance through somebody. It ain't on Pat McAfee's diamonds, et cetera. All these things, the benefits, it's insane. So he took a better deal on top of a grander platform.
And he's going to be able to do so much. Like if he just hosted the ESPYs, they threw him in last minute. And he killed it.
He killed it. That's the thing. He still gets to do what he's doing, but he also gets that turbo boost, that nitrous from ESPN.
By the way,
as well.
shout out to AJ Hawk for never having to leave his house, and just they somehow did such a good job. Because I'm so against Zoom content. Like when we do interviews and stuff, for the most part, if someone
I noticed that when we were setting it up, you're like, bruh,
if someone
come on
it's
over
like
here.
look, like if Drake was like, we have to do.
Oh,
Zoom.
I ain't Drake. That's what you said.
I mean, like you're in town, Like I think we've maybe done 2 or 3 Zoom interviews in the last 3 years. I think one of them was Tyrese.
You let Tyrese off the hook? He from LA?
No, but we did that more for the radio
Drake
show.
got a spot in LA too. So who you letting off the hook? These cats live in LA, dog.
TLC.
All right, man.
T-Boz and
it's hard to get all 3 of them together.
Left Eye passed away. T-Boz and Chili. But it wasn't. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, and then but for my shit, I think that's the only 2. And then Goody Mob. They were in Atlanta, and it was middle of the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
So this was like early pandemic.
They don't dance no more. Okay, I give you some of that. But
they've done a good job of figuring out a way to make the remote thing work.
Oh yeah, ESPN does that. Everybody
they do.
Does
Nobody even notices anymore.
Yes, because the pandemic.
But I think in the hip hop space,
changes.
people notice.
Really?
Yeah, like when you're not doing like an in-person interview in the music space, people notice.
That's a great point.
But sports, we're so used to seeing everybody. Mike Wilbon's in Arizona, or
it's a conditioning.
Kornheiser's in DC, and
And so, like just kind of finish your point and finish what we were talking about. Everyone's going to become a creator. You already are, but you're going to become you're going to lean into it and really realize that's who you are. Even if you're an old lady just sitting there showing pictures of your grandkids, you're a creator. What comes from that is now you're going to all understand you have to license that out. And what ESPN just bought into was the first licensing of a creator.
Yeah.
So now it's a proof of concept on YouTube, second most Googled, which Google owns YouTube, but second most used search engine is YouTube.
Right.
Behind Google, which owns
they own both.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So what they are doing is they're like, we're creating what has to be created, which are creators.
Right.
Now, traditional media, whether that's linear cable or traditional media, has to now buy into all of us because we are where the people are. So the reason I took off my suit ultimately is I was making $1.9 million. I hate this world where we can't tell kids and people how much you're making. Like in football, everybody know how much you make, right?
Everybody.
They
know every little detail, every little clause.
Yeah, 0.0.
Well, if he makes the Pro Bowl this year, that's an extra $500K. Or Kyler Murray has to study.
Right. And then I get into that was funny. These thin, these fragile egos or fragile industry of this.
Well, and we saw a lot of these salaries of the guys who just got fired, and you were like, God.
Yeah. I'm like, why we hiding?
Guys, like Keyshawn Johnson was eating.
Not was. He signed a 5-year deal and only did 1 year of it. He's getting paid for the next 4 years.
When I saw the Keyshawn Johnson number, and listen, the morning show was decent. It wasn't great. Keyshawn is a decent, for obviously a legendary player. He's done a great job.
My dog. That's my dog.
Yeah, listen, LA legend, SC legend.
Oh, here come my butt.
But when I saw that number, I was like, oh.
You forgot Keyshawn always hit him over the head.
Oh,
whether it was his football contract, Tampa Bay.
His agent.
I think he's his own agent.
Whoever
he agency.
is negotiating his shit. I said, oh, man, good for him.
But the real of that is he got that deal. God, let me untangle this for y'all. So Max is making that big first take money.
Right.
Then they're like, all right, Stephen A. and him ain't going to mix water and oil.
Because they ended up putting Max on with Keyshawn, right?
Yeah,
with that morning show, yeah.
So this is how it is. Keyshawn was already there.
They got rid of the Zubin guy, right?
He got sick and then it just left or something like that. So then Max comes in, but Max making first take money.
That's the most expensive morning show ever.
Right.
For a radio show.
Right.
Of all time.
So then Keyshawn sitting there like, he came to my hood. This is my show. Whose name is first? Keyshawn?
Yeah.
So he used that as leverage. That's how he got that dough.
Oh.
It's games.
So you were making 1.9.
I was making 1.9, which is, I'm in A- territory. Most people you see don't make that. And
were you in LA or you were going to Connecticut?
LA.
Okay.
All LA, which was great. It was a great fit for my life. It's just I plateaued. First of all, I'm the realist. It's just like being an athlete. I knew when I was sorry.
Right.
Now, everyone else will say it before me, but I acknowledge it when y'all saying it too. When an athlete's coming down the hill, he knows it. He just ain't gonna admit it.
He won't admit it.
Everyone else is gonna say it. So I knew I had plateaued because the three big dogs in my industry, I never could be like them. And that's a positive for them and just a difference for me. Stephen A., Skip, and Colin. So this is how I look at life, man. It's the science of life. I'm like, all right, all three of them didn't play at the highest level. So there's a different level of communication and investment, right? Then I'm like, all right, they all go places I wouldn't go because I'm not trying to be condensed into that great headline that's spicy. I don't go in on the cat.
You'll notice a lot less of the crueler takes coming from actual people who played.
Right, exactly. So I was like, damn, I'm not a hot take artist. And people think that's with a negative connotation. I'm like, no, that's just a brand. We're all in the circus, just different tents. My tent is not that. So I was like, so how much can I make at my tent? Now I started looking around. I was like, think you making the most in this tent, bro. So I was like, do you bet again? My next negotiation was going to be a haircut using the pandemic and
of course
all this stuff. So I was like, Then I'm looking at my neighbors. I'm like, these suckers are going downstairs in these content houses, destroying life and moving in next to me. So I was like, all right. We talked through the negotiation. Basically, I started my own show downstairs in my house. I'm just going downstairs.
So it was your decision to leave FS1. So
yeah,
you left on your own terms, both times.
Well, if they would pay me $10 million, I would have stayed.
but both times, leaving ESPN and FS1, you left on your own terms.
Oh yeah, like there are other opportunities and shows for me to go there.
Yeah. No, but you were like, hey, I'm going to move on to FS1 because I have a place where maybe I can showcase who I am more.
Yeah.
And then once the FS1 thing ran its course.
Yeah, free agency. Like you got other offers. Are they better offers?
Right.
Here's my mind at leaving FS1 was this. There was 3 levels of me landing the plane. The first one was we not doing Speak for Yourself anymore because Whitlock's not here, who designed that whole show. He was there from the beginning.
Were you there when it became? You weren't there when it became Speak.
No, that's when I was out because they were telling me about that.
Right.
And I was like, damn, I'm going backwards in life. No slight to them. Because I already did Sports Nation. And I was like, I've already done the
4-person panel, all that. You've been there, done that.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah.
The top layer. We're going to talk about Cowboys. We're going to talk Lakers. I've done that. And I was like, damn, I got so many more muscles to flex that I won't get to flex in that format on this show. But they paying you so much. They paying you to be in that velvet coffin.
Right.
Like, just die slowly with us and shut up. You know what I mean? And so I was like, damn. Level 2 was the fact that the offer wasn't going to be as grand as my imagination of being out here, being on YouTube, letting brands plug into me, sponsors plug into me, going direct to consumer. And number 3 was, frankly, we started talking about other shows, building the show out in my home, which we started. First Things First, which I love, but it's in New York. It was conversations of it coming to LA. It didn't happen. Then I was like, now I'm chasing money because the only reason I'm gonna do this is because they're paying me. I would never want to be in New York away from my kids. I would never want to go over here and be away from my kids and just travel and do the circuit. I've done that, but I don't want to do that. And then, using my network and knowing what I know and wanted to lean into my foundation, I said, you know what? Just do your own thing. Regain
do the
your
work,
voice.
man.
Yeah, regain your
they'll
voice.
Come.
And then let's roll.
And the YouTube's doing well.
It is, man.
And you got,
almost 6 months.
Do you have somebody handling your brand partnerships and your sponsorships, or do you do a lot of that yourself? Or do you?
Yeah, someone's handling it, but I'm always CC'd. I'm always chiming in. I know my own secret sauce.
Did they get you Blue Chew yet? The Blue Chew? Are you Blue Chewed up yet?
What is that?
You got to get that Blue Chew, man.
What is that?
They sponsor our show.
Oh, is that some food or something?
It's a
dip.
It's like a dick pill.
My wife said, "Get that boy. That
same active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis. Use the promo code Bootleg.
Oh.
And you'll get a month for free.
That boy smooth with that. Okay.